this. How come the only time you want a man to be a man anymore is when there's a loud noise outside? Can't hold open the door anymore, not in this year, not these days. Hey, I don't know what you think you're doing there, mister, but that is a woman. I was raised to pull out a chair for a young lady. Try to do that at your job on Monday. You'll be in human resources on Tuesday, yeah.
And of course, that is the funny lines from our next guest, William Lee Martin, joining the show.
You know, first of all, I matched your clothes, right?
Know,
the blue and the
blue
gray.
thing
But then I didn't know y'all were going to show the clip of me having on the exact same jacket.
It looks like a lot on the show.
One jacket, and I don't. This one just was, it's the stripes, and this was a compromise, though. You know,
I wore this last week, so we're good. I wore this last week.
I was never a jacket guy, but my wife was like, you know, you ought to start wearing jackets. It makes you look more sophisticated. I think she just thinks I got fat and wants me to hide the belly. That's love. No, that is. Look at that.
You look good.
Yeah.
Well, you've been hanging out with us today.
He's so patient.
It's been a long day. It's like I've been here for like 3 episodes or something.
You pretty much have. Let's talk about comedy.
Yeah.
You know, how did you get into it?
Actually lost my job in advertising. I wrote advertising for 9 years out of college. Hated every minute of it. I don't know, I used to look out my floor window thinking, well, floor floors kill me or just break my leg. Oh, and it was never a good break. Even in my mind, it was going to be like high up on the leg where you'd have to have a body cast and a catheter. You know, I hate my job and here's my poop. And then one day I lost my job in advertising. We all did. We got sold to another company. And it was my grandmother. I called her and she said, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. And she said, go home and look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you happy? She said, you're almost 30 years old and you never smile. I like to say I did that, y'all, but I didn't. I went home and I stayed in the fetal position for 5.5 months. It would have been 6, but unemployment runs out in 5.5. And it's a true story. UPS driver comes next door one day to deliver a package, and my neighbors were out of town, and I go next door to get the package, but I also went next door to tell him my sad story. Because when you're throwing a pity party, everybody's invited.
That's right.
Told him I was fired, told him I didn't know I was going to make ends meet, and he looked at me like, good, that's one less box I bring out here, dude. Hate to break it to you, sometimes people don't care you got problems.
And you're like, that's a joke.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't even that. I went home that day, and I turned off the phone, the television, all the distractions of life, got about 18 inches away from a mirror, and I said, am I happy?
You did what your grandma said.
Yeah, and I knew the answer before I ever got there, and I had a conversation with what I believe was God that day, and 4 hours later I called my grandmother, and I said, since I was 5 years old, I wanted to be on stage, television, and print. And she said, go for it. And I said, what if I lose the house? She said, buy you another one. She said, I don't want you to be 30, 50, or 80 and go through the would have, could have, or should have. And this is from a woman that found out that she had a tumor on her lung about the size of my fist, dying of lung cancer. My very best friend. So we never looked back. My first time on stage was May 17th, 1996. And we never went and got a job. People always ask me, did you lose the house? Yeah, I lost a house and a truck in the first 18 months of comedy. And the house I was expecting, because you couldn't hide it, you know. We didn't live in a trailer. But the truck, I was absolutely stunned that it got repossessed, because I was hiding that sucker every day.
Parking it all over the place.
All over the place. The only time I left it out was on Christmas Day. I'm like, nobody's ever going to repossess a truck on Christmas. Ford will. And so they came and got it, and then I got another one a week later, and you know, we've been able to travel the world now, and I've toured with, you know, some great guys like George Strait and George Jones and the blue collar guys, and then we've done our own thing. We had our first 1-hour television special on CMT in 2015, and my wife and I financed it ourselves, and everybody said, you're never going to get it on television. And but we were like the Little Rascals. We literally, we're going to put on a show, you know, and built the set and everything else. And I know, come on, everybody. And we put it on, and everybody said, once we got it sold to CMT, same people lined up to say nobody's ever going to watch it. And like 1.7 million people ended up watching the special.
So good. Persistent. Yeah, that's really good.
I like that. Growing up, did you have any comedians that stood out to you? I mean, I'm kind of like a Richard Pryor.
Yeah. Well, my Mount Rushmore would be Pryor. Still is Cosby, despite all the stuff that you found out later. Rodney Dangerfield, and then Jeff Foxworthy. I think a lot of people don't realize how funny Jeff was with relationship material. Everybody always knows him for You Might Be a Redneck Guy. But that was such a small part of his act. It was only 5 minutes of his act. And the other 55 minutes was relationship material. So.
Where do you get your inspiration for material?
Well, I have 5 kids. Yeah, so we're not good Catholic. We're just really bad Methodists. And so, yeah, the kids, I have 4 that completed college and 1 that completed the 7th grade. But she was 7th grade class president last year.
There you go.
Yeah, first day in office, she erased all of her emails and built a wall between them and the 6th graders. Got the 5th grade to pay for it. Turned out she had kissed a boy back in the 2nd grade and been paying him off ever since, y'all.
Oh my gosh. Poor child, to be your child.
Well, and it's so funny because the kids are used to it. They're like, all right, Dad, relax. You know, you got the gig. Okay.
Yeah.
But being a father is just as important to me as anything else. And now we do a podcast called A Stand-Up Dad. And I really do believe that a lot of the problems that we have in America now lie in the fact that fathers aren't taking a big enough role in their children's lives. I see it all the time. I see fathers just handing their kid an iPad or having mom discipline and not being that force. So I thought, you know, if we're going to talk about anything on a podcast, and it seems like everybody has one these days, I didn't want to do one, and then we took a survey of 19 different people, and they all came back with, I said, other than comedian, how would you describe me? And they said either father or dad. And I thought, well, let's talk about that, because if we ever want to change anything that's going on, school shootings, racism, bullying, it does not start with the Congress or the White House. It starts with conversations in our own houses.
It does.
And I thought that's where we would start talking about it. Yeah. So, and it can be funny, and we are funny at times. Sure. My first guest was my buddy Bill Engvall. And because I toured with those guys, but we've talked about everything from fatherhood to good and the bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got about a minute left. You're playing at the Hippodrome.
Hippodrome on December the 20th.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
there's the
there it
information
is right there.
on your screen. Go to the website, too, and find out where he's traveling all over the country. You can probably catch him wherever you're watching us right now, on the internet or whatever. I love it.
Just real quick,
go ahead.
My wife and I also run a charity called Cowboys Who Care,
That's what I wanted
and it is during the holiday season. So we provide cowboy hats to boys and girls with cancer and other life-threatening illnesses. And usually we'd have to come to the hospital to deliver those hats. Now all you have to do is go to cowboyswhocare.org and hit the Request a Hat button if you have a child either going through the cancer or a life-threatening illness, and fill out the form, and we'll send that child a brand new cowboy hat free of charge. No shipping, no handling.
That's awesome.
No nothing.
I love that. Website again for that.
Cowboyswhocare.org.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're
I appreciate
awesome.
it. We'll see him. Of course, we're going to try to have him on again next week if you'll be so kind to do that. As always, go to our website, fox44news.com.
We'll see you soon.
Follow Amanda. Follow you on Facebook. Me. Like us. We'll see you guys later.
We're going to do a show.